What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's Wise 5 Picks stream. Quick recap of yesterday before we get started. It was a good day, I would say. What's up, Larry?
What's up, Larry?
So we hit our second biggest money line play that we've had all year. We had the Cubs at plus 169, and they absolutely thrashed the Padres. That was a no doubter.
Was a good number.
It was a pretty nice line that we got there, and I'm glad that it hit. We also won our game total and team total. Game total was Seattle and Detroit under 8.5 at minus 105. Got a little bit lucky there. Finish at 8. It's some solid work from the bullpens though down the stretch. What's up, Money Plays? Good morning to you as well. And the team total, we had Orioles over 4.5 at plus 108. That hit quite early on. That was another no sweater. Felt good. Love the angle right now of Orioles team totals against left-handed pitching. Player prop that we had, Michael Pineda over 5.5 strikeouts against the Yankees. That one lost. Pineda did not have his best stuff. I think he finished with only 2, got pulled in the 4th inning. And then the Nerfy play that we had, Colorado, Miami, at minus 139. That lost thanks to a couple infield hits. So whatever. It happens. Are you ready to hop into today's picks, Ben?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. So starting off with our money line wise play of the day, we're going back to a spot that we had yesterday a little bit, the Mets Orioles game. But instead of being on the Orioles like we were yesterday, we're going to be on the Mets today. We have the Mets money line at minus 116. As our favorite money line play today. Oh, actually, this is at minus 121 now. Let me change that real quick. I think it's actually been at minus 121 the whole time. But yeah, so this to me feels like a really, really mispriced game. If I'm going to be completely honest, Taiwan Walker on the mound for the Mets. He's been one of the best pitchers in all of baseball this year. 2.17 ERA in his 10 starts, 1.06 WHIP, and the Orioles, for how good they are against left-handed pitching, are not all that great. They're more league average against right-handed pitching, and Walker is one of the best in the business at that. Orioles on the flip side have Matt Harvey on the mound, and he's bad. He used to be good. He was good several years ago. But not anymore. He's had several bad starts in a row. Not much more to say. I mean, he only gave up 1 in his last start against Minnesota, but before that he'd given up at least 5 in 4 straight starts. ERA on the year sitting at 6.62, WHIP sitting at 1.61. I mean, his WHIP is almost as high as Walker's ERA, which is just not good. So I think getting this at minus 121. Is a bit of a joke, if I'm going to be completely honest. It feels like robbery.
Yeah, and surprise, surprise, the Mets are atop the NL East, and this is a team that kind of had their struggles. They had some COVID stuff going on. They had a few guys out, but they're starting to come around a little bit. I'll say. I'm not gonna say they're an elite team by any means, but definitely a team to watch moving forward, especially if they get Syndergaard back and he's anywhere close to where he should have been, or not should have been, used to be. But just an interesting team to kind of watch for, and I think the public perception of this team still by the market is one that is not favorable, so I feel like that's kind of cooked into this line as well. And anytime you're going up against Matt Harvey, who hasn't looked great, I think this is a great price at minus 121.
Yep, totally agree. Money Play says, is the Giants game sketchy with it being so close to even? I kind of think, yes, it's quite sketchy. So kind of what I'm assuming is going to be a bullpen game for the Giants. Zach Littell is going to be starting. He's a guy who hasn't started since the 2018 season. He started a couple games back then, made a few relief appearances over the last few years. But so he's not going to go very long. And then Sammy Long looks like he's going to be the primary pitcher who comes in after Littell. And he's making his major league debut today. I really don't know much of anything about him. So kind of impossible for me, at least, to figure out how the Giants pitching staff is going to do. So I think that's why it's more close to even. Because if it was one of the better pitchers for the Giants on the mound, I think that this is more of a probably in like the minus 150, minus 160 range at least. But there's just a lot of uncertainty. So that might create value. It might be a trap spot.
Yeah, totally agree.
Sniper says, I want to take the Giants money line. Rangers are so bad. They can't hit. Yeah. It's just, again, it's the uncertainty about the Giants pitching. I mean, you've got a guy with just a couple of relief appearances this year, and then a guy making his major league debut as the guys. I mean, it's probably the best price you could possibly get for the Giants against the Rangers, though.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're comfortable
that
with
is a really good point.
Oh, look, it actually just moved. It's plus 100 now. So if you're comfortable with that pitching uncertainty for the Giants, then it's a great play.
Yeah. That's a good point. You know, this is one of the lines that Nick and I would probably stay off of more times than not, but if you have that confidence, it's worth a little bit of a risk.
Mm-hmm. Also, Kyle Gibson's been kind of sneakily good this year. We bet against him in his last start. We lost.
The man who I thought was 38.
Mm-hmm. Who is actually not quite 38.
He's like my age.
All right. So next up, we have our game total pick of the day. For this one, we're going to have the Milwaukee Brewers and Cincinnati Reds over 10 at plus 100. So I think Superbook is where we get this line. Yeah, there it is. So this one kind of just comes down to the bullpens, I think. So both of these bullpens have been quite sketchy, shall we say, recently, especially the Reds. Reds bullpen over the last couple of weeks has a 7.84 ERA. It seems like they're giving up runs left and right, giving them out for free. It's not been good. Also, starters on the mound today in this one, Brett Anderson going for Milwaukee, who is I would say, solid, slightly below average pitcher.
I was going to say right around average, but close to that.
Yeah, he's average, slightly below average. He's consistently mediocre. So depending on how you value a pitcher like that. So the thing about Anderson, though, is he doesn't go deep into games. He's only pitched... I mean, he's averaging 4 innings per start.
Mm-hmm.
He should go a little bit longer than that. I think fourth in the 5th inning or through the end of the 5th inning, he'll go. And is probably a good bet to give up 3 or 4 runs, especially with the Reds, who hit well against lefties. And then on the mound for Cincinnati, Vladimir Gutierrez. He's a guy I've actually watched a couple of his starts. He's only made 2 starts. I watched them both. He's a guy who's got some okay stuff, not really punching guys out, and he's allowing base runners. And I think that as there's more film out on him, other teams are going to start to take advantage of it a little bit more. He's allowing a lot of contact. He's not really striking anybody out, and he's walking a lot of guys. And I think that the Brewers are going to be able to get to him, and they're going to be able to get to the Reds bullpen. And I think that this is going to be a game that ends up as like a 6-5, 7-5, 7-6 type of deal.
Yeah. And the model likes this over too.
Yeah, it does. The model likes this quite a bit. Our baseball model has this sitting at a little bit over 12 runs, with a lot of the damage coming from the bullpens. So I wouldn't be afraid If you're following along with this one, if it doesn't look like it's on pace through the first 4 or 5 innings, the bullpens are really going to help us out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Larry says, kind of like everyone's talking about this Giants game. So Big Jur says, I like Giants first 5. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to touch it with uncertainty about the pitching. And Larry says, kind of like the under in that one with Gibson pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could actually see that one, but it's just the uncertainty on the other side. It's like, does he get blown up? It's a scary one. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, those are sometimes the best bets you'll make, but
Yeah, it's not a spot that I want to handicap.
yeah.
All right. So next up, we have our team total wise pick of the day. And this one is coming to you from the Yankees, who we have scoring over 4.5 runs. So Ben, tell us about why you like the Yankees today, despite us being kind of pessimistic on them on stream recently.
Yeah, I think we're very honest with the Yankees, which is a good thing. Yeah, they're a team that, again, we've, it probably sounds like we're beating a dead horse here, but they rely on their power. They need guys on base, and they need guys like Stanton and Judge to bring them home. And this seems like a pretty good spot for that to happen, considering who's pitching for the Twins. Also, the Twins bullpen has struggled against righties. And Nick, I just lost his name.
Randy Dobnik.
Randy Dobnik. Who is this guy? And how long
question.
has he had that How long has he had that mustache?
Yeah, here, let me pull up a picture of his mustache.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. But this is a guy who does not have good numbers. He's seldomly even put up good starts, and he's going up against a decent Yankees batting team that, they will strike out, of course, but we saw last night they put up a few runs, and there he is. Looks like a guy on one of those baseball movies.
Yeah, he looks like a meme character, like a character from a jokey baseball movie, or like the silly guy in a biker gang.
Yep. So since May, Twins have the 3rd worst bullpen if you're looking at WOBA. It's gotten a little better if you just look at the last 2 weeks, but they're still bottom 3rd. Bullpen struggled. I think that's a big thing here because I don't know how deep he's going to go. Probably not going to go deeper than 6 innings. Probably 5 is what we should expect. And we're just looking for 5 runs here, and I think it's very doable. LeMahieu's been getting on base. Finally had a good game. I think we've been waiting for that. Hopefully that continues. I think it will. If he gets on base, I mean, we're feeling pretty good about this over. It's crazy how one guy getting on base affects the Yankees so much, but we've said it over and over. They get those home runs. It's like, who's on base? Are they solo shots or are they 2 3-run homers? So something to watch for with this one. But yeah, we feel pretty good. It's 5 on a few books, but 4.5. We need 5 runs. We'll take it.
Yep. I think against a guy like this who doesn't really strike a lot of guys out is a perfect opportunity for the Yankees to get some contact, string together some hits, score some runs.
Yep.
So, we can talk about the Nuggets after we're done with the baseball picks. I'm
I
sure Ben has.
I like that one too.
Yeah, I'm sure Ben's got stuff to say about that.
Shout out Nikola Jokic, MVP.
Most valuable player. What a guy! I love the picture of him from when he was young. He just looks like the opposite of an athlete.
Talking to Harrison, who we had on, when he's interviewing Nikola Jokic, he's literally like the funnest person to be around athlete wise. Like he just loves life.
That's awesome.
Doesn't get too caught up in the day-to-day stuff. He loves his horses. He's like It's so funny. He like races horses, but since he's so big, I forget the name of it, but you basically have like a cart behind them,
Like a chariot.
like a chariot racing. Obviously, he can't be sitting on a horse. He's 6'11".
No,
So
that would not end well for the horse.
I honestly think he loves doing that more than he does basketball, which is fine. He's just really good at basketball.
It's like a Roman gladiator.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And by the way, give me that MVP trophy of the NBA.
All right. Are you ready for our player prop?
I am.
All right. So some of you might be expecting Casey Mize here. We've been all over some of these Tigers pitchers. Mize was the runner-up for this at his over 5.5. But instead of Mize, we're going to go with a different guy. We're going to go with Zach Eflin. Over 5.5 strikeouts against the Braves at minus 143. What's up, astronaut? Glad to have you here.
Love the name.
So why 5.5 strikeouts for Eflin? This seems like a little bit of a weird one, but he's a guy who's kind of sneakily striking a lot of guys out right now. So his last 7 starts, he had 5 in the most recent one against Tampa, but before that, 6 against Miami, 6 against Miami, 9 against Washington, 8 against this same Braves team, 7 against the Mets, and 8 against St. Louis. So he is pretty consistently hitting this number. Also, he pitches quite well against the Braves. So over the last 2 years, he's had 5 starts against the Braves. He's gone over this number in 4 of them, including having exactly 8 3 times. Also, kind of fun fact that might be a little bit surprising, but since the beginning of May, the Braves actually strike out more than anybody else against right-handed pitching.
I was surprised to see that.
They have the highest K rate in the league. So I think that this is a sneaky spot. Let me actually go pull this up. I think we get the minus 143 on PointsBet here.
Yeah, very, very sneaky spot here.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, so having to pay the minus 143 is not ideal, especially considering that Mize was at, I think, plus 110 for his over 5.5. But I think that this is the much safer pick. I think it's got very little chance of failing relative to Mize, and I think there's huge K upside here for Eflin. All right. So last up, but certainly not least, we have our first inning pick of the day. We're going to go with another Nerfy. We were considering a Yerfy here. We've only had one Yerfy on stream.
Nick, I think we need to give that Yerfy out for subscribers. The more I was thinking about it, I still like this one more, but I think it's like a very close second.
Yeah, I like the play quite a bit. I mean, it takes a good Yerfy for us to consider one.
It does.
But we're going to go with the no-run first inning in the game between the Chicago Cubs and the San Diego Padres. So, Ben, start us off.
Yeah, so first and foremost, we got Yu Darvish on the mound. So that's always a nice sign for a Nerfy. But we looked at this, and we were a little surprised to see this number under. I mean, for me, it was under minus 120. I was surprised to see it. I think that partly has to do with just Tatis. I think naturally you get that number down a little bit when he's in the lineup. I think it's just something that is always going to happen. But I think Jake Arrieta can minimize any sort of damage in that first inning. He's been pretty good in the first inning. I think we had some numbers on that, right, Nick?
Yeah, so he's been fine. He has a 4.91 ERA in the first inning, which is not great, but it's not terrible either. And combining that with the fact that Darvish pitches really well in first innings. I mean, 2.25 ERA this year, 163 batting average against in first innings. I think that plus the price that we're getting compensates for the uncertainty about Arrieta.
Yeah. So, it was funny because that Rockies Nerfy yesterday, we were completely Worried about the wrong guy, it looked like.
Yeah.
Even though that was a little bit of a fluke, but you never know. That's why there's two sides to this bet, of course. But I think, 9 times out of 10, if this one doesn't hit, it's going to be because of Arietta, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe even less than that, but you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that wraps up the baseball picks for today. Let's talk about some basketball.
Yeah, let's do it. I think there's only one game tonight, right?
That is correct. Just the Nuggets and the Suns.
So I think the play I like most in this is some sort of Nikola Jokic prop.
We thinking points or PRA?
I'm thinking if you
assists.
can find points and rebounds, some books offer that would probably be one of my favorites. But I think points. I mean, he had one of his worst playoff games of this, short. I guess this is the 7th playoff game this season. He had 22 points and was 10 for 23. So, I mean, that's like his floor. That's a bad game. And I think the line's at what? You show 29.5?
I see 29.5.
I like that over. I really do.
Any concerns about the defense that DeAndre Ayton is playing on him?
No, I'm not concerned. But I will say, though, that there have been some stats brought up with when Ayton's on him. But I think you're going to see some positive regression. Well, I shouldn't even say to that matchup, but just to, Jokic's stats on the season. I don't really think Ayton is really doing anything different that is just causing him to struggle. I think it's kind of been a coincidence in theory. And maybe that's a biased take, but I don't know. I like Ayton, but I just think that he's not like this stout defensive player like a Gobert, right? So I think you're going to expect to see Jokic go for 30 plus tonight. So I like this over here.
So if you were to look for a points and rebounds number, what would you want that at?
Let me think here.
Because I think that PointsBet might offer those.
I would want it around like 41, but I'm probably not going to get that at 41. Maybe 42.5.
So
I played at 42.
I see a PRA for Jokic at 47.5.
Yeah. See, that's actually not terrible, but
oh, here we go. Points and rebounds for Jokic, 40.5.
I like that. I like that a lot.
You like that more than the points?
I do. I like that. Even though I feel confident he's going to hit that number, but I definitely could see a scenario where he goes 28 and 14. That could be a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd certainly get a lot of wiggle room points wise.
Yeah,
taking a PR.
Because he did have 16 in one game. Let's see here. You know what's interesting though? His rebound number is at 11.5. And he's only hit that one time this playoffs. Kind of interesting, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking at that from from that perspective, I mean, you're looking for 11 rebounds.
Yeah.
To compensate the difference here.
Ooh, teasers in basketball. I don't like teasing anything in basketball because, and Nick could probably phrase this in a better way, but when you don't have key numbers, I just feel like there's just a lot of variance, and it may seem like a good play on paper, but I tend to stay away from teasers. I mean, I can in basketball, but I could see why you would want to target those in the playoffs versus the regular season, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm typically not really a fan of teasers either in basketball. I think that straight bets are the way to go. And I think the reason is kind of like these guys don't play to cover a spread. Right? They play to win the game. And in football, it's a little bit different because of those key numbers. Like when you play to win the game, you very often end up around those key numbers as far as the spreads that you see are concerned. But in basketball, you can see, say, the free throw game down the stretch blow a spread open, and from the player's perspective, it doesn't matter, but from the spread perspective, it makes a difference. Or you can see a game get out of hand, and the blowout happens, and the bench comes in, and then whether you tease or not doesn't impact whether you win or lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
100%.
I'm not a big fan of teasers.
Yeah, and I think too, you got to think like, okay, Nuggets plus 5.5. You tease it up to 11.5. It looks really good, right? You're like, oh, no. But all of a sudden, you get in the game. Nuggets, like for example, the last game, game 1, Nuggets were up by 8, and then within 3 minutes, Suns were up 10. Like it can happen so quickly in basketball. I just feel like it's a little different from football, right? Like you kind of have, well, we need to have another conversation about this because there's a lot going into this. But long story short, yeah, I wouldn't tease NBA.
Jack says Pirates money line, calling it right here, like last time with the Tigers. So I guess you're betting against Gonsolin, making his first start back off the injured list.
I could see that happening.
I mean, so Ben has an extraordinary bias against all former Rockies pitchers, but I think Tyler Anderson's not
You mean
bad.
a negative bias?
Yeah, bias against.
You gotcha. Yeah.
But he's been decent, not spectacular, not terrible. He doesn't lose games on his own, aside from the one start against Atlanta where he gave up 9 runs. And the Pirates, they put the ball on the bat against a guy who might still be trying to find his stuff. I think that's a recipe for success. Also, Ke'Bryan Hayes will probably learn to touch the bases this time.
Well, I was gonna say they put the ball in the bat, but did they put the foot on the back? Okay, I got a question. Which was worse? That or the Cubs like meltdown where they didn't tag Baez?
I mean,
They're both really bad.
they're both really bad. I think this is worse.
Yeah, I think it's more costly, but it's I don't know. I thought that was so embarrassing, but
Oh, I mean, they're both super embarrassing.
I think I'm missing another one. I think there was another.
There was a guy like in the playoffs or something who didn't touch a base, right? A couple.
Yeah,
years
so
ago.
I think this is the first time that, or since like 1970, where I think it cost a run. I forget. There's a way that the player can still score. I think if a guy was on base. So I think if a guy was on third and he hit a home run, I think that run still scores. It's a weird rule. Oh, that was. Yeah, you remember that one, Nick?
The Bellinger.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking about.
yeah. Bellinger hit the home run. Justin Turner was confused. He thought he caught it. And then he ran. And then they crossed the base pass. That was pretty funny. Imagine sitting there with like a Bellinger home run ticket. You're like, yeah, I just made $1,000. You're just pumped. Call your grandpa. You're like, Gramps. And then you got to call your grandpa back. And
Yeah.
he's like, bad situation to be in.
I loved P-Walk's emotional roller coaster in the Discord yesterday. He was like, I want nothing to do with Nerfies anymore after the home run. And then it got called back, and he's like, oh, never mind. Give me more Nerfies.
He's like, I'm back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's like I
think-
never left.
I think Trent had it too.
The Nerfie?
Yeah. That's funny. Of course Trent would have that, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the Discord link. And speaking of Trent, he's the CEO founder of bookit. make sure to join Bookit Sports if you haven't already. They got some cool updates coming. Great app. You find me on there. I'm posting about sports betting 24/7 in there. So
Literally
there
24/7.
it
He,
is.
he does not sleep.
No, nope. Sleep is for the weak.
Mm-hmm.
How about Garrett Cole with a sticky? Yeah. God. Nick and I were just talking about that because this strikeout prop's at 7.5, and it's juiced to the over, but it's I don't know the whole thing, like the MLB is just like turning a blind eye to it. I think they really need to come out and like make a statement on something because it's only gonna get worse.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. All the whole sticky stuff. It's a sticky
yeah,
situation.
Nick, that would be a fun activity if we like tested my spin rate with and without, and then test all these substances.
Yes, because we have the tools required to test spin rate.
We do. It's all proportional, right? Go out to the park. Are you not following me?
No, I'm not following you at all.
Okay, all we're trying to do is put the most ridiculous spin on the ball. So we have a baseline of like how my spin rate is before these substances, and then we do after.
But we can't actually measure that
Why not?
because we don't have like a radar system and we don't have balls with a gyroscope in them.
You know people who have both of those.
I do actually.
I'm pretty sure we could get 100,000 views on YouTube easily.
Yeah, probably.
And then we'll have our dogs be the batters, and then we have like them hold a bat, like as a prop. Actually, that sounds dangerous.
It sounds extremely dangerous. I don't know about you, but my control is not great.
Hit blue with a fastball.
Like, and as I'm sure as the spin I'm trying to put on the ball goes up, the control will go down.
Yeah, J Money Justin said they're going to be randomly checking. But see,
Yeah,
here's the problem: who are they going to be checking? This goes back to they're gonna go for these lower level guys.
So I think what they're gonna do. I was listening to it on one of the games yesterday. Is they're gonna check the hats and belts and gloves of the starters when they get pulled from the game. And they're also gonna do random checks on relievers. And they're going to issue, if they find illegal stuff, they're going to issue 10-game suspensions.
And when does that start?
I don't know exactly when it starts, but at some point in the not too distant future.
Interesting. Yeah, they got to figure out something. It's getting a little crazy.
It is. Vlog time.
Yeah. Vlog time.
Yeah, we're gonna retire from sports betting and just become vloggers. We're gonna start a content house centered around
your
us and
new
our dogs.
apartment.
It's
gonna be blue whiskey Rango. You and I. We just drink beer all day and make videos.
Exactly. Sounds like a good time.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a vlogger.
You know what? A lot of kids now, they're like, I want to be a video gamer.
Mm-hmm.
But hey.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. 3 years, Nick. Esports may be more popular than baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I have numbers to prove that, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's how many people on Twitch right now watching video games? A lot.
Tim the Tap Man has 37,000 people watching him play right now.
Yeah, Nick Merckx, 53K.
Yep.
Playing Warzone.
That's a small number for him. On the weekends, that's like 200K.
He never hits 200K. This
He
is
hasn't hit.
no. I
What's
mean,
his high? 100.
I don't know exactly.
But he's at
Sure, we
100.
can look it up.
Could have got 100 spot. All right. Anything else,
whatever.
guys?
It
Anything
doesn't
else?
matter.
Bet on esports. It's not that far away. I mean, people are already doing it, but I think it's going to become more mainstream than we could have ever imagined here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Kids get outdoors. What if they play video games outdoors? Does that count?
What if they do like VR esports?
Yeah. I mean, they just need to figure out, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna have the Wise 5 esports stream. Gonna have some LCS picks.
Yep.
That would be the day.
All right, Nick, are we getting Chipotle or what?
I think we're getting Chipotle.
Well, that sounds really good.
I know.
And I think I owe you, so. Bro, I used to bowl 300s on Wii Sports.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Wii Sport bowling.
Wii Sports was fun.
Nice shot.
The tennis was my favorite.
I know. Tennis. Baseball pissed me off. I feel like the programmers, they put more time into the golf and the tennis and bowling than they did baseball. You feel me?
I do.
Yeah, I want to talk to those guys. Well, that's funny you say that because we just added the Discord channel today.
Mm-hmm, we did. College
Yeah,
baseball.
I'm sure you're fine with it, Nick. I just kind of went on a limb
yeah.
and I was like, yeah, we should.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's like the same as we split football into NFL and college and split basketball into college and NBA.
College World Series is fun. I mean, it's if you haven't watched it before, and anyone tuning in, like I'm not going to say it. It's different than MLB, but it's fun to watch. High scoring games. A lot of fans in the stands. They're crazy. They're drunk.
Yeah, I mean, and you're gonna see a lot of future MLB players out there also.
Yeah.
Get familiar with the names early on.
Yep, totally. So it's just like college football, right? You know the names. It's just it's not as mainstream. But I'm telling you, watch those games. Good times. And now we have the Discord channel too. So
Yep, people arguing in there.
Perfect.
I think that's why he wanted the Discord server made.
So he could argue with people.
Mm-hmm.
Who does he like? He likes
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
He's posting about Notre Dame stuff, which is good. I mean, I'm all for being high on your team.
Yep. I mean, he's backing it up with some stats, but then he's like, who are they playing? The Little Sisters of the Poor?
Are they still going at it?
Sort of.
Great. How about Kellenic got demoted?
Nick, how do you feel about that? I was going to ask you about that, too, because we haven't talked about that.
Yeah, so I think Kellenic just got demoted down to AAA.
Yeah.
Any top prospects that we're liking? So you're talking about guys in the minors or guys who were young up in the majors?
I got a few I like. Well, Wander Franco, but that's...
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious answer.
We'll take, dude. Yeah.
You know, it's Franco, not Franco.
It's not Franco, it's Franco.
It's Franco.
Franco. Wander Franco. Arkansas is an absolute wagon. I like that. But yeah, what's his face? I think he was like 2 for 40 or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But you know, the thing is like they're just gonna put him down there to obviously like be like, you need to figure this out. This is what you're doing wrong. So I'm not worried about like if he'll come back. It's just it is crazy though because I didn't anticipate him ever having to go back down. He was like top prospect of his class, right? For that year.
Yeah, so I am kind of sad. I haven't quite had the opportunity to familiarize myself with the with the prospects. I used to be really into following prospects because I did a lot of really deep dynasty fantasy baseball leagues where you kind of had to know all the guys a couple years before they hit the majors. But I stopped doing that and then also stopped following prospects. So I'm not super familiar with all the guys down in the minors at this point. But a guy who's young that I've really been that I started out hating and have now come to love is Tarek Skubal. So we picked against him on stream a couple times, and I watched a bunch of his games, and then something clicked with what he was doing, and I'm a huge fan now. I think his stuff is really good. No, he's gonna have a long and successful career.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. too, I think, is another decent guy to watch for. He's like in single A or double A right now, but I think he'll play probably next season. And then that Spencer Torkelson guy too. I'm hearing some really good things.
Yeah, I mean Torkelson's bat was good enough that he was a number 1 overall pick as a first baseman.
Oh yeah, Nick, I remember you were telling me about that, which
it doesn't impressive. Happen. I think he's actually literally the first baseman ever picked number 1 overall.
That's crazy. Then we got our Rockies prospects, like the bottom of the 100. I just pulled it up. Oh, we got another one in the top 100. Let's go. Ryan Rolson, left-handed pitcher. That's funny. We got 2 guys in the top 100, and that's like a good thing for us.
Yeah, Rays have 2 guys in the top 3.
And they have 3 other guys on the top 100.
Yeah, Rays prospect system is crazy.
One of the Rockies prospects, Colton Welker, got caught using steroids.
Oof.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
Probably a bad thing. If I had to guess. From every single perspective.
Well, I think if you look at the flip side of the coin, he really cares about winning, and he wants to make his team better.
True.
But no. I always like the statement that comes out, like, I did not know this, what I put in my body. It's always the classic, like, just say this whenever you get caught using steroids, and then we'll figure it out. Every player says the same thing.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Like, yep, I cheated. I got caught. I'm not remorseful. I'm going to do it again.
Well, if I said that, I would kind of have some empathy for the guy. More so than the beat around the bush. Unless he's honest. Like, yeah, man, I want to hit 50 home runs this year. Of course I was juicing. You would too. All right, maybe not the last part.
Yeah, no. So Jack said...
This is random, but how can an MLB player not hit it to all fields on the shift? I mean, I can answer that real quick. It's really hard. It's hard enough to hit the ball, especially like with what the spin rates we've been seeing, so it's really hard to directionally hit. But I will say the bunt, though, it's a little different. So that you may have a point on. They just don't practice it enough.
Yeah. I don't think it's a point of emphasis for coaching staffs to get guys to do that with the bunts. I think they should.
The crazy thing too is, let's say who's a really good lefty power hitter that they shift on in the MLB. I'm just trying to think of one off the top of my head.
A guy like
could be any name,
like Bryce Harper or something.
Yeah. Let's assume that Bryce Harper has the most ridiculous shift to the point where it's actually they have these where there's only one guy who's occupying second to third base. In the coach's minds and like the analytics, I think it's better for him to just try to hit the ball versus try to get on base, right? Or it's close to being a break even for like probability of scoring.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. So I mean if you try and beat the shift by hitting a ground ball or bunting, I mean you're not hitting a home run. Mm-hmm. Which is a subpar outcome.
Yeah,
especially for a guy like that.
Yeah, in theory, you're
Gallo's
like,
a great example.
You could get the first base. Like even if let's assume you could put Bryce Harper on first base every time. Yeah, maybe I think you would go with that, but it's not a guarantee. You still have to bunt the ball down the line. I don't know. I'm sure there's some people out there who have done some numbers on it.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know of them.
Trust me, when I see it sometimes, like I went to a game the other day and I was looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's literally like no one over there. But hey, the numbers don't support it. So that's that.
That is that.
All right. I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's true. No one wants to. Bryce Harper didn't come to the Phillies to bunt the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to practice bunting. And then what? Then they don't get to practice hitting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I feel like it's a great way to like get one of your fingers broken eventually. Just bunting all the time.
Yeah.
Just take a pitch right on the finger.
Hey, one of these days, a guy's going to come in and he's going to be like really fast, a power hitter, and he can bunt. And then what? Because that's another point too. If a guy has speed, getting him on first is a little different, right? Bryce Harper, how many steals is Bryce Harper going to have a year, right? You get a guy who can run.
Yeah. I mean, also, yeah. Like, if you have a guy who can run, though, the infield's going to play shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a guy who can hit for power like that and also has speed, that's one of the best players in the league. So
that's why Wander Franco's getting a lot of hype.
mm-hmm.
I don't think he's like a super fast guy, but I heard he's quick and he can hit. So it's like the guy on the show. You just put 99 on running and speed, hitting.
Fangraphs gives him a 60 grade speed. So
what's the highest? 100?
It's 20 to 80 is the scale. So 20 is like unplayably bad. 50 is average.
Trey Turner's up there.
80 is like top of the line.
I would say Trey Turner's got to be a good candidate for that.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, San Diego, by the way, for Trey Turner.
Also, it looks like the scouting grades, the 20 to 80 scale, I'm seeing for Wander. Do you see 80? Are we looking at the same numbers? For hit?
Well, yeah. So what? Here, let me actually pull this up over here.
See, Trout isn't really a speed guy though.
Well, not anymore. He was.
Yeah,
he's just older and stronger now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Franco, so 60, 80. This is like 60 is current, 80 is future grade.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if he comes into his potential.
Mm-hmm. He's a righty though, but that doesn't take away what sort of, I guess, bunting down the first baseline, but
yeah, Jacob Stalling speed is a legit 0. That it is.
That's not good.
No, I mean my speed is probably at 0 compared to MLB players.
I bet you're faster than the slowest MLB player, Nick.
Probably.
Roberto Colon. he's probably not in there, but
no. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's time.
It is time.
That's a nice conversation.
We've gotten deep down that rabbit hole. Wait, who is that up right now?
That's Franco.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
But yeah,
impressive stuff.
So we're hopping off. No stream tomorrow. There's only 6 games to work with, so we're just not gonna stream. We'll be back though on whatever the hell day after is after tomorrow. I guess Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be back on Friday and Saturday, and then next week, stream schedule is going to be a little bit up in the air. So I'm moving on Monday. And then it's just a matter of if I'm able to get everything set up in time for a stream on Tuesday, then we'll stream on Tuesday. Otherwise, no stream Tuesday, potentially moving forward in the week. We'll just keep you guys updated in the Discord as far as how all that is unfolding. So yeah, thank you all as always for being here. Good luck with the picks, and we are gonna go enjoy some Chipotle.
Mm.
Later.
Double meat, and remember, guys, you don't ask for that second scoop until the first scoop, because if you ask for two before, then they'll make both scoops less.
Big brain plays.
So if you learn one thing today from our show, take that away. Mic drop. Peace.